On this 2015 to 2025 F150 with the 2.7 EcoBoost, P0496 is an EVAP system high purge flow code. In plain language, the PCM may be seeing more fuel tank vacuum than expected while the engine is running, but not at idle. The driver may only notice a check engine light, or there may be possible fueling or startup complaints. The broad areas we're thinking about are EVAP airflow restrictions, a purge valve that may not be sealing or responding correctly, and fuel tank pressure sensor signal plausibility. We're going to work the test path in that order instead of guessing at parts. Start with the available EVAP system test on the scan tool. If that scan tool test is not available on the vehicle, keep going. Don't stop the diagnosis there. After that, check the stored codes. For P0496, this path moves into the excessive fuel tank vacuum checks. If other codes are present and they send you down a different direction, check what those codes mean first instead of treating every EVAP code the same. Before disconnecting fuel tubes or fuel system components, relieve fuel system pressure. Fuel can stay under high pressure even with the engine off. Also treat any fuel handling seriously. Be ready for spillage, keep ignition sources away, and don't let spilled fuel contact hot components. Next, inspect the EVAP plumbing for visual causes of excessive fuel tank vacuum. Look for restrictions or bends in the vapor hoses and tubes, especially the purge valve outlet tube and the canister tube. Also inspect the canister inlet port, vent valve filter, fresh air hose, and canister vent hose area for restriction, contamination, or debris. Run the purge valve check in the EVAP toolbox if the scan tool supports it. If you find a concern, repair it as necessary, remove the restriction or debris, clear the PCM codes, and verify the repair with the EVAP leak check monitor drive cycle. If no concern is found on this 2.7 EcoBoost path, move on to the FTP sensor voltage check. Now equalize the tank to atmosphere before judging the FTP signal. On a capless filler, install the supplemental refueling adapter to open the filler pipe. On a cap system, remove the fuel filler cap. Wait 1 minute before reading the PID. With the ignition on, monitor the FTP PID. The shared FTP baseline check also has a listed hybrid application range, where the FTP PID reading is between 1,409.54 volts. For this 2.7 EcoBoost path, use the All Others range. The FTP PID should read between 2,129 volts. If it is in that range, continue to the stuck-open purge valve check. If it is not in range, check whether other 3-wire sensor codes are present. If they are, diagnose those code meanings first. If no other 3-wire sensor codes are present, move to the FTP sensor voltage supply check. For the stuck-open purge valve check, use the EVAP toolbox purge valve check if it is available. If it is not available, restore anything removed earlier, install the fuel cap or remove the supplemental refueling adapter, turn the ignition on, monitor FTP and record the FTP value. Start the engine. Command the EVAP canister purge valve closed at 0%. Then command the EVAP canister vent valve closed by commanding it on at 100% duty cycle. The check passes if the toolbox test passes, or if the FTP voltage stays within 0.5 V of the recorded value within 30 seconds after closing the purge valve. If it does not pass, install a new EVAP canister purge valve, run the EVAP system test, clear the PCM codes, and repeat the self-test. If it passes, continue to the purge valve flow test. For the purge valve flow test, the fuel level must be less than 85% full. Do not open the EVAP canister purge valve for more than 15 seconds or more than 20% with the vent valve closed, because the vent valve can be damaged. Start the engine. Command the vent valve on at 100% duty cycle, monitor FTP and record the FTP voltage. Then command the purge valve to 20% while watching the FTP PID. If the FTP voltage changes more than 0.5 V from the recorded value in 15 seconds, the concern cannot be duplicated or identified at this time on the P0496 path. Move into the intermittent or unduplicated concern diagnostic path rather than forcing a repair. If the FTP voltage does not change that much, check for restrictions between the fuel tank, the purge valve, and the engine intake manifold. Also check the purge valve diaphragm and ports for restriction. If those checks are okay, install a new EVAP canister purge valve, run the EVAP system test, clear the PCM codes, and repeat the self-test. If the FTP baseline was out of range and there are no other 3-wire sensor codes pointing you elsewhere, check voltage to the FTP sensor. Turn the ignition off, disconnect the FTP sensor connector, then turn the ignition on. On this 2.7 EcoBoost measure between C435 pin 3 and C435 pin 2. The voltage should be between 4.55 V. If that voltage is present, install a new fuel tank pressure sensor. On some vehicles, that sensor may be part of the fuel vapor tube assembly. Then clear the PCM codes, run the EVAP system test, and verify the repair with the EVAP leak check monitor drive cycle. If the voltage is not in that range, leave this P0496 purge flow path and diagnose the FTP sensor circuit path before continuing. Keep the verification separate from the testing. Once a restriction has been corrected, a purge valve has been installed where the test calls for it, or an FTP sensor repair path has been completed, clear the PCM codes, run the EVAP system test, repeat the self-test, and complete the EVAP leak check monitor drive cycle where called for. The takeaway is simple. P0496 is diagnosed by proving whether the tank vacuum is being caused by a restriction, a purge valve control or sealing problem, or an FTP signal problem. For more diagnostic training, visit stepdiagnostics.com.